What's going on, guys? Gonna be breaking down UFC 300 today. Gonna do a full card breakdown. Before I get started, I do have a Discord link in the description. It is completely free. All my bets, early openers, breakdowns. Have some pretty sharp guys in there. Have a little bit of like degeneracy in there. But started last week, man. Good group in there so far. So free Discord, link is in the description. Want to put the recap at the end of the video. We went down 1.7 units last week, but I want to get started. This is an amazing card, so let's get right into it. First fight of the night is Deiveson Figueiredo versus Cody Garbrandt. Minus 310 is the current line on Deiveson Figueiredo. So pre-tape, I definitely wanted to find ways to back Cody here. I mean, we haven't really seen Figueiredo at minus 300, 75% since, what was it, 2019, maybe 2020 in one of the Moreno matchups. It's not a guy historically we've really seen him, priced as a massive, massive favorite. But honestly, I'll be honest, versus Rob Font, moving up to 135, I had a lot of questions about Figgy there. And he looked great, man. The power carried. Honestly, he looked one of his better performances of recent, and it was probably the best move for him. I mean, the guy was massive for 125, and he was getting up there in age for that cut. So probably the right weight class now, and he definitely still has the power. I mean, some of the shots he was landing on Rob Font, and I know we've seen Rob Font hurt a lot, but that was pretty not the easiest test for your first introduction to bantamweight there. So good performance by Figgy. And then on the Garbrandt side, yeah, he's coming off 2 wins, but I mean, Trevin Jones, that was one of the slowest. I couldn't even finish trying to rewatch the tape on that one. And then he knocked out Kelleher, good. I mean, it was a better showing from Cody, but I still have in the back of my mind, the Kattar France knockout of flyweight was bad. He got beat up there. He got knocked down a couple times. And it's not like Cody Garbrandt. I mean, end of the day, I wouldn't say it's the worst chin in the world, but dude, at this point we know we're again with him. And he has been a little gun shy. And I don't think you can really do that with Figgy, who's going to land some really well-timed shots here. I'm not getting to Figgy minus 300 because he is 36, and I don't know. I don't really want to get there on the money line at 75%. I don't think I have an edge. Thought about ITD. It's near Pick'em minus 115. Hopefully I get a good book. If it was plus 140, I'd probably consider. But yeah, overall it's probably knockout, but that's even lined at plus 170 right now. So it's tough to get there on props even for Figgy. But overall, I do think he will find the chin at some point and knock out Cody Garbrandt. Next fight up is Bobby Green and Jim Miller. So I do have 2 bets here. I bet 1 unit on Jim Miller moneyline plus 150. But I do have a half unit on Jim Miller knockout plus 600. Bet the opener there came down to plus 450 on Bet Online. But I'm still seeing some okay numbers out there, man. I still like the Jim Miller knockout prop. So overall, guys, I did do a bit of tape here. So I started with Bobby Green recently. So I did watch Dober. Not that Dober and Jim Miller are that similar stylistically, but hey, southpaw, someone that can probably, Bobby Green can probably jab out a good bit, hit volume on, and win minutes. I wanted to just rewatch, what led to that knockout there. So Dober lost, round 1 pretty. I mean, it was bad, man. Doubled up, got his face, pieced up with just straight punches. And round 2, he just started kind of just disrespecting just the power of Bobby Green a little bit, walking more into the firefight. Got him along the cage, and that's a big key. If Jim Miller can get Bobby Green at some point in this fight along the cage, where you limit his movement from, he can't move. He's all about his hands down and relying on reaction and just dipping, just literally will slip your punches and, land better ones. But the key is, so if Jim Miller can get him along the cage side here, and it's not the first punch with Bobby Green. So if you try to throw a straight punch, try to jab at Bobby Green, he's going to slip and he's going to make you look stupid, man. You can't just sit here and try to clean and technically box Bobby Green. He's just better at you at that kind of game. But you can find success, and like Dober, that's how he landed the knockout here. He got Bobby against the cage, and you limit his movement. He can only move side to side, and it's not the first punch, it's second and third. If you just gotta like let go, man. If you throw a bunch of hooks, I've seen it multiple times now on the tape where Bobby gets clipped because he's so confident in his head movement. But it's those shots from the side, man. It's the shots in his peripheral that you can't really see. So I do think there's upside there for the knockout if Jim Miller can get Bobby along the cage at any point, like that Dober fight. I do think it can look similar to that where Bobby Green is landing volume. Next fight after Dober, guys, is Jared Gordon. And honestly, I watched that fight twice for this, and I was really surprised at how well Gordon game planned there. So Bobby, first minute and a half, looking good, landing, doing his normal thing, but he was kind of the one crashing in. He was, when he first got caught the first time, I'll put some like tape up there, some footage that I actually was like, watching and trying to just break down and see where there's openings in Bobby's games and seeing if Jim Miller can actually exploit them. So in the Gordon fight, the first time that like he lands solid combination on Bobby is Bobby comes crashing in, tries to land like a jab to the body, and he just lets go on some hooks, man. Throws like a 2-3 punch combination, clips Bobby for the first time. He clipped him in that first round, man. I'm gonna be honest, I know that was a no contest, like headbutt. Unfortunate for Jared Gordon because he was finding the range, man. I'm gonna be honest, like if that fight extended a little bit longer, wouldn't be shocked if Gordon at least knocked him down at the bare minimum. He just game planned well. He knew that he wasn't going to outbox Bobby. He just waited for him to come in and just let loose. So after that, guys, Bobby faces Tony Ferguson. I mean, look, like it's Tony Ferguson, guys. We know we're getting now at this point. And Bobby looked good there, until there was some sketchy moments at the end. And I'm not going to go too deep into that fight because, like I said, it's Tony. I don't really put much weight into, where he's at in his career right now. So he knocks out Grant Dawson, like immediately, whatever. Can't get a read there. And then the Jalen fight. So that was, terrible matchup for Bobby there. Jalen immediately, throwing the teeps, landing good shots at range. And he actually put him out. So Jalen, being primarily southpaw, real slick, real clean, man. Long, powerful, like good boxing, good kicks. I absolutely love Jalen's game. We'll talk about more about him later. But he actually put Bobby out from orthodox. He threw a little teep at the leg and just switched right into orthodox. And it was a right hook. Not even right hook, more just like a right hand that just lands on the temple. Sits Bobby down. And then from there, the fight should just be over, but holy shit, man. Like, absolutely terrible stoppage. Bobby gets, like, woken up by a punch, gets knocked back out cold after like 12, 13, 15, 20 unanswered shots. It was brutal. Brutal, man. And I really don't know if Bobby should be coming back that quick from that. And I will say, like, even just rewatching back his last, 5-6 fights, I do think he's starting to slow down. And for a guy that relies so heavily on head movement and reaction, like that's not good. And I know Jim Miller's older. Jim Miller he's definitely older. And I know of his recent performances, he's knocked out a lot of lower level guys. Yeah, he submitted Gabriel Benitez. He had a questionable look against Alex Hernandez, which sure, youth, speed, things that Bobby, not youth, but just being quicker than Miller, he could find success. Overall, guys, I do think that Bobby Green is going to look good here. I think he's going to land the jab on Miller. I don't know how much success Miller's going to get on wrestling or getting Bobby down. I don't really think there's much equity in the submission. And, at some point, I think he can clip him. And I think, we've seen Miller make adjustments just in his late career where he's made improvements and changed his style to actually find success here his last 4 or 5 years, which is crazy for an older guy to do. The veteran that he is, I'm sure he can make adjustments in there and see the same reads that Gordon saw to just, hey, man, I know Miller loves crashing in, which he's found success with. He knocked out Mata with that, lead, kind of jumping, hook. But I think, if he crashes in here, guys, Miller can get counter with a straight shot and dropped. But I think if, he's smart and he can make reads and let Bobby be the one, going first, I think Miller can find success. And I mentioned if Miller can get him along the cage, I do think that knockout's very live. Not that, I'm putting any comparison to Jesse Butler and Bobby Green, but similar, man. Miller can make you pay if you're along the cage there. So I like Jim Miller here, and then just a little last fight out for Miller props, like why I like KO at 600 a lot. One that I mentioned the questions on, I have more questions on Bobby Green at 37 than I do about Jim Miller at 40, 41. It's crazy. But I will say, last fight out, Jim Miller minus 140, 130 money line, whatever it was. KO prop against Benitez plus 260. His sub prop plus 365, and his decision prop was plus 425. I know Benitez has been knocked out a ton too, but that was plus 260 for the KO there. Now we're getting plus 600 on Bobby Green, who's been KO'd 4 times in his last 5-6 fights, man. So yeah, or 3 times, whatever it is, man. Bobby at this point coming back from that brutal knockout. I don't think that's the best for him. And I do think there will be chances for Miller to clip him and put him out. So yeah, give me Jim Miller one last time to get the knockout win. 1 unit on plus 150 money line, and then a half unit on knockout plus 600. So next fight up, guys, is Marina Rodriguez and Jessica Andrade. So originally a week ago at minus 120 Marina, I was thinking that was probably accurate. Maybe Pick'em was accurate, and I couldn't really really get there for Marina. I will say now that it's getting to plus 116, I'm getting there. I'm thinking about it. It wouldn't be a big play. If Marina gets to plus 125, plus 130, I'll probably end up with a half unit. I was hoping for better numbers on the knockout. So I will say Andrade, I think, is on the decline. She has shown signs that her durability is starting to go, man. It's starting to go. That Yan Xiaonan fight, that one, dude, I haven't seen her hurt someone like that in any fight. And even for Andrade too, just rushing in like that. It was a weird look, man. Really weird look for her to just run into a right hand. And I just feel Andrade, she has some physicality here, but other than that, I think her durability is waning. And if you're going to rely on this dirty, physicality driven fight where you're getting in close, you're throwing big shots, you're trading with Marina here, I do think her chin's starting to go. So I was hoping for a good number on KO, plus 600 to plus 800 range. Not getting that right now. I mean, I'll keep eyeing, but books seem to be on to that. But I do think Marina moneyline is value here. I mean, she's really active. She's long, active. I mean, she's older, actually. It's crazy that she's older. But I don't know, man. I like Marina's game. I think on the feet it can be pretty competitive, but I think Marina, she's cleaner, man. I think Andrade, I've seen it in her striking, bro. It does not look as good, and I do worry if Marina gets put on her back at some point. It happens a lot. But I said, I'm gonna do more tape, more research, more due diligence before I actually put out a play on that fight. But I'm leaning Marina, man. I may get there. All right, guys, next fight up, we got Jalen Turner and Renato Moicano. This is my biggest bet of the card right now, man. I got Jalen Turner moneyline parlayed up minus 225. So, guys, I mean, there's one path. I mean, maybe 2 paths for Moicano. Both are really, really greasy and hard to get to. But Moicano, technically, he won that Dober fight on control. He was able to secure rounds that way, and fucking goddamn it, I bet on Dober there, guys. I bet on Dober. I thought it was a great spot to fade Moicano. And got was it plus 160 Dober there, man? Not bad. And I thought if Dober doesn't do that second lateral drop, so he gets the first one in round 2. Steals the last 40 seconds of the round, lands some big shots on top, bloodies up Moicano, and then round 3 goes for another lateral drop and just, oh my God, ends up on his back, loses a fight. But there was, man, every moment on the feet there. If you bet Moicano, you probably were sweating, man. That was sketchy. And he was in a dominant position for felt 12, 13 minutes of that fight, and you were still really sweating it. Overall, guys, I do think there is, a path where I don't know if he can really control Jalen Turner. Jalen Turner, Gamrot got him down a couple times. Was he 4 for 6 in that fight? But Gamrot was so well timed there. He knew he had to be. Gamrot wasn't, he didn't want to run into an uppercut. He didn't want to run into a knee from Jalen Turner, something nasty. So all of his takedown attempts were just so well timed in that fight. And even there, Jalen immediately, scoots his butt to the cage, works up. He's got good jiu-jitsu. So, Hooker did put him in one bad position, but that was after, he put a beating on him. I don't really think that Hooker fresh and Turner fresh, that would never happen. But overall, guys, I do think that Moicano's going to have a hard time getting Jalen down. I think he's going to have a hard time even getting into range. Jalen knows how to utilize his reach. He can throw the teeps up the middle, man. He can switch stance, throw a head kick, throw the knees. The hands are crisp. I love his boxing. I'm getting excited, man. I'm getting excited right now talking about Jalen Turner again in this fight because he's just so clean, man. So my only worry, and I probably, maybe I'll hedge it if it's the right number. It would maybe be small. I think Moicano's path here, if he actually was to upset Jalen Turner in the spot, he would need to get the back in round 1. I think that is Moicano's most likely path. If Moicano gets his hand raised on Saturday night, I think he probably somehow, got in range, got close to Jalen. I don't think he's taking him down with those trip attempts. It's maybe if he's just, opportunistic, gets to his back, sinks in the backpack, sinks in his hooks. But yeah, that's the only way I really see Moicano getting it done, because every minute that this is standing, he's a liability to get knocked out, man. There's a lot of bad visuals you can see on the tape. You can go back. He's been knocked out a few times. I think Jalen Turner knocks him out on Saturday. So yeah, I like Jalen here. Give me the tarantula. I know minus 230 on Jalen is sketchy at times because we've seen him fail here, but Jalen, it's kind of like the Cheaty thing, man. If you don't have the power to deter Jalen from letting it go, and if you don't have the ability, for that Dan Hooker fight, okay, amazing performance from Dan Hooker. If Jalen Turner lands that head kick on Moicano, he's out for 5 minutes, man. He doesn't have the chin of Dan Hooker. He can't Homer Simpson this, and then he doesn't have the wrestling of Gamrot. And holy shit, that should have been. I bet Turner there plus 175 should have been Turner decision. It was close, but yeah, man, I like Jalen here. Pretty confident spot. I think at minus 230 there is still value. Like I said, outside of an early back take round 1, locks in the submission, I do think Jalen Turner gets this done inside the distance. Next fight up, we got Sodiq Yusuff and Diego Lopes. So I'll be honest, guys, at first glance, pre-tape, Lopes is a guy I've lost money fading the hype train. I don't know what it is, man. Something about that, what performance was it, man? That Nate Richardson performance, dude. I don't know what it is about that one that has kind of deterred me from, I don't know, it's kind of just fucked up my read on Diego. And it didn't help that Mosvar ended up on the bottom. It's a short notice fight against elite guys. You can't really hold it against them. And early on, guys, so pre-tape, I was thinking I was going to get to Sodiq here. I don't know, man, more tested. Thought of him as a decent minute winner. And then also, too, guys, I'm not a big fan of guard jiu-jitsu players at the higher ranks. It's just not very effective. And you can look through the divisions. You won't see many, highly ranked guys that are grabbing heel hooks or grabbing low, bro. It's low level stuff that you really just don't see at a high level successfully used. So in terms of Lopes, the guy's fucking big, bro. He's big, he's dynamic, and when I'm watching Sodiq, I just feel his last few fights, man. Yeah, he had a great round against Edson, but holy shit, he gets hurt. I feel in every fight, even Caceres, man. I rewatched Caceres Sodiq, and there's just moments where Caceres is good kicking. He's got good kicks. Man, he's leaning. He's landing some clean hands on Sodiq, just tagging him up. And if Diego Lopez is landing those kind of shots, man, like, yo, Sodiq is like, he can get knocked out here. I don't really know if Lopez submits him, it's probably club and sub. I don't think if Sadiq's a smart enough guy, high level enough guy. I don't think he's going to if he's on top, gets submitted here by like an armbar attempt or like a knee bar or something like that. I think he can play. If he's not hurt, I think he can play it pretty safe there. But on the feet, man, I'm really worried that Sodiq gets knocked out here. So books are kind of onto it too. Lopez is now plus 250 to win in round one. It's KO props. It's like plus 300. Same with the submission, man. ITDs like slight plus money. I was hoping for a better number, but right now, like I said, I've been fading like Lopez, and at this point, it's quite clear the UFC likes him. And maybe, like he has improved, I will say, yeah, I think he has improved, but Sabatini did clip him. Even Sabatini landed like a clean shot. So guys, this feels like a volatile, like ass fight. I'm leaning like Diego Lopez. I don't really want to get in front of this hype train, but Sadiq's more tested. I just worry about his chin, and there's been a lot of sketchy moments on Sadiq's career, and I can't really say I've seen improvements. I really haven't seen much improvements from Sadiq since like the Mike Davis fight on Contender Series. I honestly, like, and I know he's a ranked guy and he's like been around, but man, Lopez has momentum here, and I'm not shocked. I think he can get it done. I think he's more likely to finish this fight early if it extends. I think Sadiq can just fight a cleaner fight than Diego. But yeah, I'm leaning Lopez right now. That's my current thoughts. But yeah, I'm hoping to get better lines on his props. I'm not sure if I love laying minus 140 there, even though I am leaning because I do think he wins this fight. Guys, next fight we got Kayla Harrison and Holly Holm, the preacher's daughter. I have a bet here, small bet, and it's not even like it's not a passionate take. I have 0.2 units on Kayla Harrison knockout plus 500. So I know right away it's like what the fuck, but hear me out. So typically when this is kind of like the Jillian Robinson read from like that what was that the Duplessis Strickland card. So like Jillian Robertson, when you have like women's MMA fighters that are heavily favored, and you can use this for like men's fighters too. We'll talk about this in like the Bo Nickal fight. But when you have like a heavily favored fighter like Jillian Robertson, like Kayla Harrison here, and you're not going to get any edge on their submission props. Again, even today, later I'll talk about this. Like Bo Nickal's submission, I guarantee you there is like no edge there. Like you're paying a hefty vig to play submission for these like fighters. So for Jillian Robertson, the read is pretty simple. There's like a pretty decent ground discrepancy, and sometimes if you can get someone on the ground in positions where you're likely to submit them, you can also land ground and pound. And that cash there. I'm playing a similar type read here on Kayla. So Holly's getting up there in age, 42. I mean, look, we haven't really seen her like fucked up on her back since like Misha Tate, and that's so long ago. But she's getting up there in age, man. She's definitely getting up there. And what the concerning I think for Holly here is she's relying. I mean, last like 4 years, man, she's been relying on herself being the one, pushing the wrestling control, working the clinch, and not that she, isn't clean on the feet. She is, like, obviously, great kickboxer. But if she initiates any clinch here, like, she's going to get thrown. Like she's going to get thrown. Kayla's going to end up, like, in side control, on top, in good positions. And then her wrestling's good, too. Like, she does have good singles. She's got good double legs. I would not touch Kayla Harrison money line at minus, like, 450 right now. Look, she's a 155er. If she were to cover this price tag, it's hard. I don't know if she can, man. Like I said, it's a lot of concerns to lay that kind of price. But if she were to cover this price tag, she's probably like getting Holly down to pretty high clip. And I think she can get Holly down. So I just want to pull up some of these like round props. So guys, when I'm betting openers, like you got to think quick. And when I see that Kayla Harrison ITD's priced at near pick'em, okay, like almost near 50% on Bet Online on the opener there. They got Harrison round 1 plus 325, Harrison round 2 plus 400, Harrison round 3 plus 650. Like those are either like really wrong or KO's not plus 500, because like I don't get the discrepancy there. Like is submission like what's the decision at? Plus 150 on decision, plus 235 on the submission. Yeah, it opened at plus 190 on the submission. I'm talking a lot of lines there, but because I do think there was some value on the plus 500 KO. I played it for 0.2 units because she's gonna get Holly down here at a pretty high clip. Physicality's gone. If she makes the way, physicality's going to play a big part here, and she can. I mean, it's been a while, but she can brutalize girls with the ground and pound. She has gotten to pretty nasty positions and bloodied some girls up before. So I'm not saying on the feet she knocks out Holly, but it's a ground and pound knockout finish. You don't really want to be laying there like sub props of these short lines sometimes. On these heavy chalk, sometimes you can find the knockout at a decent price. So played it there for 0.2 units. Not a passionate take. Next fight up, we got Aljo versus Calvin Kattar. So originally, guys, I did bet Aljo. This is 2 months back, pre-tape. I played Aljo minus 101, minus 110, about 1.6 units. So I don't know. My thought process was just in terms of like just a market perspective. I remember, obviously I played O'Malley against Aljo, and I just felt like at that time no one gave really like O'Malley a chance. Like it was from a market perspective, everyone was talking like Aljo was the greatest bantamweight of all time, and we were getting lines like that were reflective of that. So regardless of the move up in weight, Kattar was coming off an injury. So I thought, minus 101, there would probably be a decent bit of public buyback just movement on this line. And I got that right at least, but I wasn't like passionate about it after I watched tape. I'm going to try to be better just in general, guys, with these like damage versus control like decisions. They're just so hard to predict. Like you can predict the fight correctly. You can predict that this may happen or that may happen. But if his path is a decision, and if I'm supposed to tip out, I have minus 110, people are probably going to play minus 150. I would just I wouldn't play that myself, and I would just feel bad, sweaty, greasy decision that's close. Like people lay chalk there. So I'm out. I don't like Aljo at minus 150. I arbed out of this play at plus 130 Kattar. I'm getting a free 75. So I'll just say now, I'm not going to rebet this fight. I already arbed out of my positions. I'm not going to go back now, retape it, and try to find a play. Probably just passing. I think Kattar. So I bet Kattar. Man, I bet him in his last 3 fights, and I got some bad luck there. So obviously we cashed big plus money against Chikadze. Then 2, I thought he beat Emmett. That was tough. It was chalk. It was minus 220 there on Calvin Kattar. And then Arnold Allen, it's tough, man. His knee went out, so he's coming off injury, but we never really seen him out wrestled, out grappled, and Aljo's all moving up in weight. So there's a lot of questions on both guys. I think it could be close. I don't have a good read. I'm just going to pass on this current line. All right, guys. Next up, we got Jiri Prochazka and Alexander Rakic. I bet here. I bet on Alexander Rakic. So overall, it's a tough matchup. It's not an easy way to side with them. Early on, a couple months back when I first saw this open, I thought I was going to like Jiri at underdog odds, but I have enough concerns. So first off, I will say this about light heavyweights. I feel like a lot of people, I haven't listened at all to anything this week. I wanted to come in with my own thoughts and perspective on stuff, but I'm sure a lot of people, when they're making their light heavyweight picks this week, because there's 2 high profile 205 fights this weekend, they're gonna validate their pick because the other fighter had shit competition. When you can make that argument with any single fighter at light heavyweight, you can literally argue shit competition with any fighter at light heavyweight because it's light fucking heavyweight, man. Yeah, if you fought Thiago Santos, you can say, oh, whatever, he beat a Wash Santos. That's the number 1 fighter at the time. That's the number 3 fighter. It's crazy. Anthony Smith, top 5 guy. Volkan Oezdemir on a lot of these guys' records. And it's oh yeah, he beat Volkan. It's not a good win. It's like the guy's top 10. Like, I just think it's like funny that if you're using, I'm sure people are going to do it because I hear it a lot with light heavyweights. Like, you validate your pick by shitting on the other fighters' level of competition, when in reality, none of these guys, like besides a select few that have been around, have really, fought that name's worth of fighters. So just want to put that out there. 'Cause I think it's funny that I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of a lot of talk like, oh, this guy's fought no one. So Rakic has underperformed in a lot of spots. Look, like he got clipped against Devin Clark. He almost got put out in round 1 by Devin Clark. So that's scary. That's concerning. But here's my thing. Like, everything you can shit on Rakic in this fight, for one, you can say his chin. You can say the same about Jiri. Yuri's being hittable, okay? They're both hittable. They've both been chinned before. They both don't check leg kicks. And I think, rewatching that, AP fight, like, Jiri, man, hit right away, his leg is messed up. And I know Rakic doesn't, like, check leg kicks either. We saw it in the Jan fight. But who's going to be a more effective, like, leg kicker here? Like, right away, Rakic is gonna, put the leg kicks out there, chew at the legs, and Jiri can switch stance. He can fight, both sides, orthodox and southpaw. But I think, both guys, I think, have chin concerns. Both don't check leg kicks. So either guy can knock each other out. That's like, feels like even money. But when I look at like just pure defensively, like who's better defensively, it's not even remotely close, man. Like, Alexander Rakic is a much better, cleaner, fundamental MMA fighter, boxer. I know he's basic. It's simple stuff, man. Jab, 1-2s. He's got a good right hand that'll throw out there, has decent power. But it's very simple stuff. But he's quick, man. For a light heavyweight, 6'4", 6'5" guy, Rakic is, he is really, really quick. I think I will say, like, his wrestling, it's good. Like, it's good. It's not like the highest level wrestling we've ever seen light heavyweight, but I think it's definitely effective enough to get Jiri down because he does not have good wrestling defense. So I think both guys are hittable. I think both guys can get chinned, but I think one guy is defensively sound, has a better overall kicking game, has a better overall effective striking game. I know Jiri knocks people out, but man, like he does all this. He doesn't do much right, and I don't. This is a hard fight to cap, certainly, but what I'm getting at, guys, on how I cap fights, if they're both can get chinned at any time, if they both don't check leg kicks, one has a clear wrestling upside, one is way more better defensively, he's a more complete game, he's quicker. I know you can say injuries, they both have had recent injuries. Rakic's injury was actually further back than Jiri's, and Jiri's the one, coming off not like a brutal knockout, but, he got clipped there. It's definitely a tough fight to cap, but overall, when I factor in everything that I'm watching, when I really run through all their UFC fights, skill for skill, I think Alexander Rakic is a lot better fighter than Jiri Prochazka. And one thing I will say about Jiri, I feel like the way people talk about it, and you guys can probably tell, I'm not the biggest Jiri guy, and I'm trying to like I said 2 months ago, I thought he was going to be the side. I try to remove bias from all my gambling. But I feel like the way people talk about Jiri, he is such an elite fighter. So we've seen him in 4 UFC fights. And I'm not going to talk slander on any of the matches or who he's fought over that, though. But what I will say from a market perspective, Jiri Prochazka was a plus 157 underdog to Volkan Ozdemir. Okay, knocks him out. They give him Dom Reyes. Pick him with Dom Reyes. Knocks him out. He's minus 210 with Glover Teixeira. A very old Teixeira, okay? Very old. 44, whatever it was at the time, 43. And you can't say that Jiri covered minus 210 there. I mean, we were 45 seconds away from Glover Teixeira, remaining, champion. And then AP, whatever. It's a pick-em price. That was a close fight. But it's not like this guy is, someone the Vegas and the market itself has priced he's amazing as everyone talks about him. I'm kind of talking about a lot about this fight. You can make arguments for both sides, but when I factor in, just everything that I mentioned, I think that I get to Rakic minus 160 here, minus 175, and at minus 120, minus 125, I had to take a shot there. So I'm playing him just 1.1 units. It's not my most passionate take, but I think Cody is a much better fighter. I think he can out-wrestle Jiri. I think he's more defensively sound, and I think he's a lot quicker with his hands. And I think the fundamentals will work here when Yuri's being wild and hittable. Rakic is going to piece him up with the basics. So give me Alexander Rakic here. Next fight up, guys, is the main event opener, right? We got Bo Nickal and Cody Brundage. I've had a fun history like betting Cody. I've actually like I made some money on him as underdog. No way can you I mean he's probably value. Minus 3,000 Bo Nickal means he's 97%. I don't know if anyone in the UFC would ever be 97% in a fight, but not that I would bet Cody. But the thing with Bo though, let's see what the props are right now. I'm curious. Let's see what they're pricing submission at. Like I mentioned earlier, I've made money doing this with Bo before. The Pickett submission, whatever, but you're able to bet these guys like knockout props. They probably brought it down the price. Okay. Nickal KO is plus 130. His submission is minus 140. Honestly, it's not even that much of a discrepancy there. It's tough, man. I don't know. Nickal in round one's minus 300. It's so tough. I'm probably just going to pass on this fight. I was thinking Bo Nickal round one knockout. I'm seeing 215. Maybe, but I wish I was getting better. It's tough, man. Like this is the heaviest favorite in UFC history. You got to get creative on how you want to play them. But guys, whatever you do, do not put Bo Nickal minus 3,000 in your parlays this weekend. All right, next fight up, guys. We got Arman Tsarukyan and Charles the Bronx Oliveira. So after tape, I'm still like kind of torn on like money line. I mean, I lean to like Charles here is probably the value. I wouldn't lay Tsarukyan this chalk over Charles when he's always live, very like the most live underdog. But I saw Arman KO prop on BetOnline open at was it 295? Plus 275 they open Arman KO. And I saw it priced at other books at like plus 120, plus 140. And I wasn't even like I was planning to bet Charles KO at plus 850, but I saw the 275 number, I had to play it. So I played that. And now I have options though, because it's plus 195 now. And I can still play like Charles plus 850 KO, average amount for like a plus 185 number. I can play heavy now on Charles money line if I want to, and I have an Arman hedge. I just wanted to like secure, like you'll see guys, I play a lot of like numbers. Sometimes it's not always about like picking winners, but if I'm getting one book offering me a line that's much better priced than the rest of the market, 7-8% even better than the rest of the market, 10%, I got to take those lines just because now I have options. In terms of the betting perspective right now, if I didn't play this, I'd be looking for Charles. It'd probably be KO round 1 or 2. FanDuel has a decent number on the combo. You can play these individually too for some really good numbers. It's a tough fight. Arman is looking like on some like a lot of juice right now. He's in good form. Like that Dariush fight was, he knocked him out, clipped him, whatever. I will say the Silva one is like the reason why I wouldn't play Tsarukyan. Just some sketchy moments in that fight. But yeah, I think Charles is a very live underdog, and I have a half unit on plus 285 Arman KO. Maybe I let it ride. Maybe I play Charles KO. Maybe I play Charles moneyline heavy and use it as a hedge. But now I have options. That number came down a ton, so I'm happy with that play there. And now, I'll probably come back. I'll post, obviously, in the week what I end up playing there. Next fight up is Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway. I do have a bet on Justin Gaethje here, minus 163, 2 units there. To win a little over, it was like 600 and change. So overall, guys, I do think it wasn't the easiest fight to handicap originally. I was kind of like going back and forth. Obviously you can watch the Max Holloway Dustin Poirier fight from years ago and see a kind of idea, what did Max look like in his one showing at lightweight. But he didn't really prepare. This is different. He had more time this time around, so it could always be different there. He may be better suited in his frame, just more prepared here. But the main fight that honestly I looked to, so I did rewatch the last Volk fight. Volk obviously a much more technical, high level tactician than Gaethje. I mean Gaethje, I'm not discrediting him any bit, but like Volk is the elite of the elite when it comes to just smarts out there. Like he just out. He's just better. He's just a better overall fighter than Max Holloway. Not by much, but by enough to beat him there dominantly, that last fight. But the next one that really gave me concern was Yair. So I rewatched Yair and Max. And Yair lands, guys, 40 leg kicks the first 2 rounds. If Justin lands half, I mean, not even half, if Justin can get 10, even 8 good leg kicks going early, I haven't really seen I haven't found anything on tape that shows how Max can deal with the kicks. And that's what's giving me confidence in Gaethje here. So like I said, physicality, sure. That's obvious. Max is the one moving up, and you can talk about that Dustin Poirier fight, but it's so long ago. But the recent footage of Max, and this is why I'm siding with Justin, and I know a lot of sharps, because I wasn't going to play Justin at minus 210. He got to minus 240 at one point. But a lot, I know some sharp cappers that tipped Holloway. The line has moved as such. Some big plays, man. Some big units put out on Max Holloway. The line has came down a ton, and I'm very appreciative of that, because now we're getting Justin at near 60%. He is the one that we know has shown he's successful at 155, and not just successful at 155. His last 2 performances, yes, he's getting up there in age. He's 35. He's an older fighter here. But his last 2 performances, man, the Rafael Fiziev fight, holy shit, the damage. The sound of when Gaethje lets his hands go, dude. He does so much damage. Look at Fiziev's face after that. His eye was absolutely battered, so much blood. And I know Max has a path here on volume, but what I was getting back to with the leg kick thing, if he's heavy on the front leg, he's not addressing any of Yair's kicks. Yair actually landed some good shots at the hands early too in that fight. Max did, figure it out. He won on the stretch, worked in his wrestling, but 40 leg kicks in 10 minutes. And it's he switched stance late in that second round against Yair. But even there, Justin's he's gonna kick both legs. He doesn't care. So that alone, just the kicking game of Justin, I think is going to give Max a ton of issues. This is going to be the hardest hitter Max has ever fought. It's going to be the hardest kicker that he's ever fought. I think he's going to get his legs chewed. I think that Justin's going to, he may struggle sometimes. Max is the much better boxer here. Max has a better cardio. Max has the volume. But at the end of the day, the visuals, the damage, the leg kicks, I like Justin here, man. And is there a world where Max Holloway can win this fight? Yes, but it's on volume, and it's on him just outworking and outlasting Justin for, what is he going to turn it up 15, 20, 20 minutes in, steal this down the stretch? He's going to have to go through hell to get there, though. So right now, pre-fight, I'm getting Justin at 60%. And I feel like this, who's the more upside here to look massive fave? Is there a world where Max looks massive favorite here? No, but can Justin land 5 big kicks? We see Max switch stance early, land a couple big shots with his hands, and already we're shit, man. There's a big power discrepancy. You can just see it. So I'm playing Justin here. I understood the Max bets when he was plus 190. I got that there. But now that it's minus 160, I was gonna wait longer on this line. Honestly, I was gonna see how much public buy we can get in. Not being public, there's sharp money too. But how much people are gonna be buying in on Max? And now we're getting a playable line, and I'll take it, man. 2 units on Justin. I get all the Max takes, but I haven't heard I haven't heard anything that explains how is he going to address the leg kicks, because Justin's going to fucking land them. And like they're like Whitman smart. They game plan like they leg kicks alone, and then just the power, man. The damage that Justin can inflict in this fight is a lot more than what Max can do, even if Max is doubling him up. Even if Max doubles Justin up here, I think there's going to be such a difference in the visuals, the sounds, just like the pure. There's a difference in physicality, man. There just is, and then I know Max is taking longer off here, but yeah, I'm starting to talk in circles about this fight. I like Justin here. 2 units on the -163. Next up, we got the co-main event. We got Weili Zhang versus Zhao Zhaonan. Yan Xiaonan, man, her name's tough for me sometimes. I'll say, I do pretty good with the names. Her name's tough for me, so we're just going to call her Yan. This fight, guys, I mean, look, at first glance, you could say Weili -500 is wide. I played her at -400. Like I mentioned earlier, Jalen Turner money line, heaviest bet on the card, 2.5 units. Turner money line, Weili money line, pays out like about 1,000. So the reason why Weili is such a heavy favorite here is the wrestling. Can Yan compete on the feet, man? Yes, she's quick, man. She's good. Technical boxing, good kicks. I like her cant, man. Like she's doing the right stuff. She's shown some improvement. Like, dude, she's really quick. And maybe part of the Andrade fight was just Yan is getting better. Maybe she is improving. And there is a world where she has improved her takedown defense. Like, I'm not arguing that. Maybe she has made some steps there. She's with good partners, good gym, and know how to wrestle too. So maybe she has improved her takedown defense. However, on bottom, I'm sorry, guys. Like, Weili, if she does get this girl down, if she gets Yan down, she can brutalize her with the ground and pound on top. We saw Carla Esparza get her first ever knockout, man. She landed 200 ground strikes. She didn't even get the full crucifix. It's like 70% there, and she's just battering her with elbows. Mackenzie Dern, she got like one good throw early, then a couple throws. She accepted bottom, kind of like just like played guard, and then found a way to top. And Mackenzie Dern, like, was a couple hundred, like 100 plus, 100 something ground strikes. Like, if you get her down, she's a hard time getting off her back. And honestly, man, just the tape, she doesn't know what she's doing, man. She doesn't know how to, like, she kind of just gets lost there and eats shots, and you can tell she gets real stressed out. She doesn't know what to do. So I'm sure she's made improvements in the takedown defense, but Weili is the more powerful girl on the feet. I mean, if it's all on the feet, it can be competitive, man. It could be Weili, like, 160 to 185, but just the grappling, man, the grappling holds, that's what really drives this price. And Weili is not someone that doesn't fight to, like, bro, she's going to go for takedowns. She's going to take the path of least resistance here. Maybe she'll play on the feet for a little bit, but she's going to get her down. And once she gets her down, Weili's going to land big shots. I'm not surprised if she gets it done ground and pound. I'm leaning the KO over the submission, but hey, man, you never know. Like I said, I like Weili here. Even at 500, it's wide, but well, she'll probably be -600 come fight week. So, I'll just say that. All right, guys, main event time. We got Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill. This is a very tough fight to call. On one side, so guys, I'll be honest, man, I don't have any bets on either side right now. I'm lining it. Okay, so if you remove the Achilles, okay, if you remove the Achilles from at this price tag, it's tough. I think I'm playing Jamal no Achilles. Okay, I any plus money of Jamal Hill against Alex Pereira without the injury, I think is probably the side. And I know AP love him, but he is getting older. He has shown that. I mean, I bet really big on Alex Pereira over Jiri, and I didn't feel good sitting there watching it. I felt like, I'll be honest, man, like he won the fight, but I was sitting there with a knot in my stomach going, maybe he wasn't. He shouldn't have been. Yuri should have been minus 130. I wasn't. It was close, man. That was a really volatile fight, and like I'm glad that, dude. I love Alex Pereira. He's brought a lot of entertainment and to the sport when we needed it in these divisions that were starting to become a little stagnant. Izzy for all these years, and we needed something new. So really, I'm a big fan of AP. I just at light heavyweight. The Yan one at altitude is just like a weird fight to get a read on. Both guys, I don't know, didn't look great, but you can't fault them because they're fighting at altitude and big guys. And then, like I mentioned, watching Alex Pereira versus Jiri, I didn't feel good about my AP bet there, and he's always so dangerous. So obviously he can knock out Jamal Hill, even though we've seen Jamal Hill's durability is great. My worry about why I can't play Jamal Hill money line right here, and I do think I said no Achilles, there's value on this, but with the Achilles, even though like Jamal Hill, he's a southpaw, but AP can still kick him, bro. AP is not as effective, but he can use his lead calf kick and still chop at it. I don't know if Jamal Hill has had enough time off. So for that reason, I can't play his money line. I'm still deciding here, guys, how I'm going to play it. It could either side. I think it's knockout round 2 or round 3. That's where I'm leaning. Shop around on books. Guys, in terms of a money line side, I think this is very sharp. I don't think I have an edge, and I haven't been swayed in either direction because I think there's arguments for both, and I feel like, minus 125, minus 120 Pereira, it just feels right. So right now I'm seeing minus 130s on them. I just can't get a read there. So yeah, man, pretty confident. Like some reads this week. There's other ones where I'm still going to need to do a lot of due diligence, a lot of research. I'm going to have a lot more bets come Saturday. So really fun card, man. I wish everyone the best of luck. If you like the video, actually we'll do this, guys. Comment if whoever's still watching, this is probably at the end now after an hour-long video. But if you're still watching, comment your favorite parlay of the weekend in the chat. The longest odds it cashes. So whatever parlay has the longest odds that cashes, in the comments, I'll do like $75 giveaway. So you just got to post a parlay. It could be 2 legs, can be 3 legs, can be 10 legs. But the catch is it has to be like whatever has the highest payout plus money. They'll all be one unit. Whatever has the highest plus money in cashes, I'll pay another like $75 to you guys. A little recap from last week, guys. I had some good bets. I had some bad bets. I'll start off with just like an order of the card. So early on, we bad bet, Dixon, late props. Before just playing the number there, but I was very fortunate to bet that. We made some money on Victor Hugo moneyline. Good read. I liked those late KO props plus like 2,000 plus 3,000. I thought that was value. Would probably bet it again. Falco, 3-day notice, gas bag, BJJ guy. It was just an easy read. Gene Matsumoto, man, that one was tough. Like of all the props I played last week, that's the only one. Like Gene Matsumoto round 3 is the only one I didn't split it round 2 and 3. And that I would have won almost 3 units there. So that one's tough. Probably should have played both sides is how it goes when you're playing long shot props. Moneyline wise, GDR plus 150, plus 146 missed there. Guys, like honestly, I think if GDR another minute on the feet, GDR could have won that fight. I don't hate it at the plus 150. Probably shouldn't have played her any. I put her in a parlay at plus 110. Bretsky, good read, man. Like I said, Lucas Bretsky back against the wall. I love that angle sometimes for these guys when you get them. It's now or never, and he was fighting like minus 450. Like I said, what the fuck, Walter Walker? No way. He was 80-something% there. And then Morgan Charrier, my biggest bet of the night. 2.4 units altogether, 2 units on him straight. That's tough. I wish he separated more. I did rewatch it. I wish he separated more. But when the live line is minus 1,400, come on now. Like what? Like it's just crazy that it's such a debate between each judge sees. Some see 30-27, some see the other guy won like 30-27. It's crazy. And then Chris Curtis too, man. I'm not gonna like bitch about that one as much as like Charrier, but end of the day, it's damage. And maybe I wish that like Curtis landed more on those ground and pound opportunities when he had like Allen down. But yeah, I know I tipped out that Curtis finish only. I did bet Curtis unit live when he was gaining round 2. I thought he was trying to run away with it. He was going to knock him out. But, you know, man, end of the day, we got a good card this weekend. We're going to get back on track. Like I said, minus 1.7 units last week altogether after PFL, LFA, and UFC. I appreciate you guys. If you like the video, throw us a like, throw a subscribe, comment, please. I'm trying to like hit the algo. So appreciate you guys, and let's make some money this weekend.